Welcome back to Educator.com's English Grammar course. This lesson is on 3 pairs of troublesome verbs. Let's get started. All right, this lesson is all about 3 troublesome pairs of verbs. People get these verbs confused constantly. Even native English speakers with PhDs have trouble with these verbs. So we're going to go over in detail what they mean and how to use them correctly. The 3 killer pairs of verbs are lie and lay, sit and set, and rise and raise. Now we're going to look at the forms that these troublesome verbs take in different tenses, things like that, so you can recognize them. And we're going to do some practice with using the correct ones. All right, pop quiz. Which of these sentences is correct? I will lie down for a nap, or I will lay down for a nap. Think very carefully. It's correct to say I will lie down for a nap. It is incorrect to say I will lay down for a nap, and I'm about to tell you why. All right, in English, there are 3 pairs of verbs that are commonly confused with each other. They sound very similar, and they mean similar things, but they are not the same. They are connected, but they are not the same, and they do not have the same meaning. In each pair, one verb is transitive, and the other is intransitive. Now, what does this actually mean? A transitive verb, as you may recall from our unit on verbs, is a verb that has a direct object, something that directly receives the action of the verb. Now, the way you remember this is a transitive verb contains the word transit, which means transportation, carrying you, taking you places. A transitive verb takes you to the direct object. An intransitive verb, not transitive, does not take you to the direct object. Now, how does this actually play out? Using these 3 pairs of verbs correctly is a hallmark of good grammar. Using them incorrectly can irritate your reader or your listener and show a lack of proficiency. They are a dead giveaway that you're not paying attention to your writing. Lie and lay, sit and set, and rise and raise. Now, lay versus lie. Lie is an intransitive verb. It does not take an object, and it means to rest or recline. So, I am going to lie down. Lay is a transitive verb. It always takes an object. Always, always, always. If you're using lay, it's going to have an object right after it. It means to put or to place. So, lay that book on the table. And in this case, the direct object is book. It's receiving the action lay. What am I laying? I'm laying a book. If I'm lying, I'm just lying. I'm not lying anything in particular. Now, 2 handy tricks for keeping these 2 straight. First, the vowel sound in lie is an I. Just remember that if it has an I vowel sound, it is intransitive. Lie, intransitive. Watch for the I's. Lay is a transitive verb. Doesn't have the I, it's not intransitive. The other way to remember this is something my high school English teacher used to tell me, which is probably the worst joke in the history of English teachers, and that is saying something. She would say, lovers often lie, both in the sense that they lie down and that they lie to each other. So you don't take a transitive verb there, you just lie. All right, sit and set. These 2 are commonly confused in the American South and a couple of other places. Sit is an intransitive verb. Once again, the I sound with an intransitive verb. It does not take an object. It means to rest. So in our sentence, please, Benedict, sit down. Benedict isn't sitting anything in particular. He is just sitting. He's putting his butt on the chair. All right. Set is a transitive verb. It takes an object. It means to put or place. Set that book on the table. Notice how we used it in the same way that we used lay that book on the table. Means almost the same thing. The only exception to this particular rule is when set is used to mean to go down. Then it does not take an object. So the sun sets in the west. This is pretty much the only use of set without an object. All right. Rise versus raise. This is one that drives me berserk when I hear people use it wrong. Rise is an intransitive verb. Once again, the I sound goes with an intransitive verb. It does not take an object. It means to go up. Rise and shine, as my mother used to say when getting me up way too early in the morning. Raise, by contrast, is a transitive verb. It always takes an object, and it means to lift or move something up. Now, you notice these 2 meanings are connected, but something rises without help. Presumably, I would be rising out of bed without anybody else's help. Raise, you're pushing something up. The thing that's going up is getting help in the process. So raise your hand if you have a question. If you are raising your hand, you are pushing it up. It's not going up all by its lonesome. It has your arm attached. Now, let's look at the forms of these verbs. This is where it gets really, really tricky. We've been looking at the present and the base form of each verb. Lie, lay, rise, raise, sit, and set. Now, the present participle is formed along the usual rules. Lying, laying, rising, raising, sitting, and setting. Now, here's where the past causes some problems. The past tense of lie is lay. Look familiar? Yeah, you got to watch for that. Watch the tense so you know which verb you're actually looking at when you see those three letters, L-A-Y, together. The past tense of lay is actually laid. Rise becomes rose, raise becomes raised, it at least follows the regular rules. Sit becomes sat, it's a somewhat irregular verb, and set stays set. It's pretty much always set, in fact, even in the past participle. The past participle of lie is lain. That's one you're just going to have to memorize. It looks a little strange, but once you're used to it, everything else will look strange by contrast. The past participle of lay is laid, just like the past tense. The past participle of rise is risen because it is massively irregular. The past participle of raise is raised because it's massively regular. And the past participle of sit is sat. So at least sit and set have the same past and past participle. Okay, let's do a little practice with this. See if you can figure out which verb goes in each of these sentences. It's been a long day. I'm going to either lay or lie down for a while. Please rise or raise for the national anthem. That's Glenn setting or sitting over there in the corner. Take a good look. Pause the video if you need to. And here we are. It's been a long day. I'm going to lie down for a while. Remember, lovers often lie. You don't need a direct object for that. And we've got that I sound, which means it's intransitive. It does not take a direct object. The only thing lying down is the person speaking. There's nothing being pushed. Please rise for the national anthem. Once again, you're not getting any help. You're pushing yourself up out of your chair. And that's Glenn sitting over there in the corner. Glenn is not the sun, so he will never be setting over there in the corner. All right, let's do a little more practice. The stone had laid or lain there in the grass for a long time. The dog turned around 3 times and then either lay or laid down. In the story of Lazarus, Jesus raises or rises Lazarus from the dead. Now, this is a particular story in which somebody brings somebody else back from the dead. That's important because of the next sentence. Christians believe Jesus rose or raised from the tomb after he died. Now, in Christian belief, Jesus had no help. Lazarus did have help. There's your clue. Take a good look. Pause the video if you need to. And here we are. The stone had lain there in the grass for a long time. Now, this is the past participle form of lie. Remember, there's that I, which means it's intransitive. It does not take a direct object. The stone isn't putting anything anyplace. It's just lying there like a rock. The dog turned around 3 times and then lay down. Past tense of lie. Once again, the dog does not need any help. In the story of Lazarus, Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. Now, your clue here was both that I told you Lazarus had help coming back from the dead in the story, and the fact that we had the direct object. Okay, if it takes a direct object, it's transitive, which means we want the version that doesn't just have an I sound. And Christians believe Jesus rose from the tomb after he died. Once again, I gave you the clue. He didn't have any help in that story. So we use the past tense form of the verb rise. Intransitive, no direct object, I sound. Let's do one last round of practice. Please sit or set these dishes on the table. The dog set or sat on command. Yesterday morning we rose or raised the flag. And after you've raised or risen from sleep tomorrow, come downstairs for breakfast. Take a good look. Pause the video if you need to. And here we are. Please set those dishes on the table. Your clue here was dishes. Set takes the direct object dishes. You're actually placing something somewhere, so you need the transitive form, set. The dog sat on command. No direct object. The dog doesn't need any help to sit down. Yesterday morning, we raised the flag. Your clue here was flag. Raised takes the direct object. You're putting something up. You're helping it. So it's a transitive verb, so you use raise. And after you've risen from sleep tomorrow, with any luck, you won't need help with that, come downstairs for breakfast. And that's all for this lesson. Thank you for watching Educator.com.